Why not fight against Pereira, a guy who's the same age as you, and we walk around the same exact size? Right now, I had to eat a big breakfast because I'm getting underneath 235. Pereira walks around at like 240, and he has magnificent accolades. Business-wise, it makes more sense. Fight the, I'm gonna call him this, fight the nobody that may be more dangerous, or fight the guy with all the accolades who's incredibly dangerous, but it actually will affect your legacy. Where when you look back and it's like, John just beat Alex Pereira, it's bigger. It's just much bigger. And anybody who can't understand that logic simply doesn't want to.
The big money fight is Alex and John Jones at the White House. Yeah. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Catch weight. Make it 225. You don't have to be for a title. Make it the bad mother upper edition. You know, you have the BMF belt for 155ers. Who's the real BMF?
Yeah.
You know, do you think one of those guys could beat Alex Pereira? You think you get a 155 pounder in there against Alex Pereira? Does Max Holloway survive against Alex Pereira? No, shut the fuck up. John Jones, Alex Pereira fight will probably be the biggest fight in human history. You got the greatest of all time in John Jones, and arguably the most destructive striker that's ever competed.
Yeah.
No one's like that guy.
Poatan. John Jones wants to bare knuckle box. This is according to John Jones. Now, I love this idea, and I realize that things just get said, but believe me, I get it. But I love the idea. There is no form of combat I would bet against John Jones in. If John Jones was to enter Abu Dhabi, I would bet on John Jones in any weight class. Feel free to disagree. If John Jones was to go box, there was talk real briefly that John Jones was going to, people telling me John was going to win. That's a big stretch. I mean, that's a hard thing to imagine. But imagining John Jones lose is also very difficult. I don't think the most fun things we've seen from John are in the octagon. I think the most fun things we've seen from John are the clips that get picked up. He's over in Russia, and the guy that owns the organization turns out to be a judo black belt and wants to go a takedown with John, and that gets captured on film. Shadow boxing with Anderson Silva. Same scenario, street. John Jones starts shadow boxing with Mike Tyson. John Jones in a garage, I saw this over the weekend, I don't know when it was filmed, starts moving around with Chimaev. I think those things are great. The day that John Jones was doing an autograph session, hungover from the night before, and gets approached by an Eddie Bravo brown belt, and John walks onto the mat with no warm-up and...
Jones just priced himself out of the biggest fight in MMA. And the reason? He doesn't want to face Alex Pereira. Let me show you exactly how he's been dodging this fight using tactics that fighters have perfected for decades.
To go box. I still have to take him at what he said. I don't have anything else to go on. John is not coming out and openly doing media. So I want to back John, and I have told you guys that. I just don't know what John's side is. From the beginning of time, it has been acceptable.
Here's what nobody's talking about. Jones has been floating this bare-knuckle boxing idea everywhere. Sounds exciting, right? Wrong. His UFC contract legally prevents him from taking any of those fights. So why keep talking about it? Simple. It's the perfect excuse to avoid real competition.
I'll fight that guy for $500,000. And that was a time when there was no such payments as $500,000. I'm going back to the Pride days. I have a friend that used to do that. I'll fight anybody for $100,000. But then it was like an acceptable way to get out of doing something. Everybody accepted it. On the playground, if you didn't answer the bell...
Watch this pattern. First, he demanded $30 million to fight Tom Aspinall. Then he said Aspinall hadn't proven himself yet. Sound familiar? It's the exact same playbook he's using to duck Pereira. Price yourself out, then act like you're still interested.
But in the pros, it's always been, like the fans have always accepted, well, you should have paid him. Should have paid him. Like, you're not understanding. The guy doesn't want to do the fight. He didn't say I'm worth $30 million or I should get $30 million. He chose $30 million because he knew he would not get $30 million. It was a way to get out of the fight. Now, the other move in MMA, the other move in this industry that has always been accepted, is to put yourself in a position that contractually you can't legally do.
But here's where it gets wild. Jones has been rolling with judo black belts in Russia, shadow boxing with Anderson Silva on the street, grappling with Eddie Bravo brown belts while hungover. This guy lives and breathes combat sports. So why won't he fight the most dangerous striker in his division?
Is that what's happening here? John priced himself out of the Aspinall fight openly. Said it. John didn't even put up a defense for himself. He said, I haven't seen enough of this guy. Put him in there. I'm not ready to fight him yet. Knocked a bunch of guys out real quick. Get him in there a couple more times. Let me see a few more minutes. I like to study guys more. Like, John was open about it. So, well, I'll do the fight, but you're going to have to pay me this amount of money that you've never paid anybody before. And then they came with the money. John goes, yeah, I don't want to do it. Like John was open about it. This isn't me.
Because Pereira isn't just another opponent. This is a guy who knocked out Israel Adesanya twice, a former kickboxing champion with legitimate one-shot knockout power. And Jones knows it. He's seen what happens when elite grapplers try to stand with Poatan.
And do the bare knuckle. That's a story for another day, of which that is not accurate. He could go and do that, but he believes that he can't. And so he said that he wants to. And I'm just wondering, like, does he want to compete? Where is John at? Or is it a matter of, I'm going to price myself out and I'm going to feint that I want to do fights that I believe legally I will not be allowed to do? I got two ways.
The UFC offered Jones multiple fights this year. He turned down every single one, not because he's injured, not because he's retired, because none of them came with that magical $30 million payday that he knows they'll never pay.
I get in there. Is that what's happening? It feels like that. But I wish that it wasn't. Like, I love the idea that John would be allowed to go and bare knuckle box, which, by the way, he would. I love the idea, though, because there is an argument that I will not get into the octagon without 30 million bucks. Okay.
Here's the kicker. Conor Benn just got $15 million from a bare knuckle promotion. That's real money from a real organization. So if Jones truly wanted to compete outside the UFC, he could, but he won't, because that would mean actually fighting someone dangerous.
Another organization pay you. That's one of the reasons I like the idea the most. There is fiduciary laws and responsibilities. Conor Benn did not get $15 million because he's famous and or can justify $15 million. Conor Benn got $15 million because somebody else was willing to pay him close to $15 million. That's why he got that. Eddie was willing to give him.
This isn't about respecting Jones's worth as a champion. This is about recognizing a calculated strategy to avoid career-threatening matchups. The bare-knuckle talk, the impossible demands, the constant media appearances where he sounds interested but never signs contracts.
Tell bare knuckle boxing that? Would he tell them I need $30 million? There was talk about other guys were coming out and say, oh, you should know his worth. Show him his respect. Okay, is that number 30 million? Is that a respectful number? And I ask for the discussion because ultimately we're going to come down to the one thing that nobody wants to say, which is their number one argument for why the UFC should pay $30 million is simply because you can afford it. You can afford it.
Look at his recent behavior. Every time a dangerous fight gets proposed, Jones finds a way out. Either the money isn't right, or he's suddenly interested in boxing, or the opponent hasn't earned it yet. It's always something.
I look at John, I go, man, that dude is so special. I watch him playing with Chimaev in the garage, and I go, man, that guy is so special. I watch him playing around in the ring with the judo expert. John comes out with the takedown. Man, that guy is so special. I watched John at a house party. He had like friends sitting around the living room, and he ends up going some takedown with a guy, and the guy was also a judo guy, and John comes out. Then I would just imagine, there was some drinking in there. I would just imagine, like, it's a hard thing to just stand up and be able to play, but he can.
And that's the tragedy here. We're watching potentially the greatest mixed martial artist of all time systematically avoid the fights that would cement his legacy. Pereira represents everything Jones claims to want. Elite competition, massive pay-per-view numbers, legacy-defining stakes.
But I can tell you there's two ways, historically, to get out of a fight and still look good, because the audience has always accepted it. Pricing yourself out, which he's done not once but twice in the last 8 months. And the second is to feint that you want to do something that you...
But here's what the evidence shows. Jones talks about wanting to compete everywhere except where it actually matters. The octagon, against active, dangerous champions who could potentially knock him unconscious and end his mystique forever.
With the bare knuckles, so now I'm left back at square one. Does he want to do it? I don't want to encourage him to get in a cage, or anybody else, if that's not what you want to do. But at the same time, he's got an incredible skill set. I love watching him fight. If it is something he wants to do, I would like to get behind it. I can just tell you, I'm left with the evidence that I have. I'm left to take him at his word. And his words right now is pay me more than you're willing, or put me in an organization that I legally can't fight in. What am I supposed to take from that?
So there you have it. Jones has mastered the art of looking competitive while avoiding competition. The 30 million demands, the bare-knuckle fantasies, the constant media appearances. It's all designed to make you think he wants to fight without actually fighting. The question is, will we ever see him risk his perfect record against someone like Pereira who could genuinely end it? Drop your thoughts below, smash that like button if this breakdown opened your eyes, and subscribe because this division is about to get even more complicated.